I was at my son's, I've got 7 children, but my second son's wedding in Tuscany, and my son's wife and her family are very sporty, so they like to have sports. Whereas, of course, in England, a wedding is for getting drunk. That's what weddings are for. I don't know what it's like in Mauritius. But they decided to have a sporting wedding. So on the Monday, it was a football game. And I said, I'm not going to play football because I'll get injured. At 54 now, I don't do that kind of exercise. They got married on Tuesday, and on the Wednesday, they said, let's have a gentle game of volleyball. So I said, okay, let's volleyball. So in the volleyball, after 2 minutes, I slipped and I ruptured my patella tendon. So while you can see that, like that, my knee also popped out. So I've had an operation on my knee, which has now told me to retire completely. Now I'm going to go spinning. You know what that is? It's a new thing that, well, you know, that's what my wife does. Put on some leotards and go on a bike in the gym to music. That is what I'm going to do now. Well, first of all, I'm here on behalf of Liverpool Football Club because I've been invited over by Standard Chartered to launch the Standard Chartered Cup, which is a great opportunity for local teams to have a fantastic competition, and then of course the winner gets the opportunity to go to Anfield to watch Liverpool versus Everton. So it's really just spreading the goodwill and the relationship between Standard Chartered and Liverpool, which is not just here in Mauritius but all over the world. And I was fortunate enough to be one of the ex-players to be asked to come along to represent Liverpool in that quest. The Liverpool team is probably the best Liverpool team I would say since my time, since the last time we won the league. If we remember the Liverpool team that nearly won the league with Philippe Coutinho, Luis Suarez, Daniel Sturridge, when we finished second in the league, and everybody remembers, you know, Steven Gerrard's slip when we nearly won the league. This is a better team. That had great individual players, you know, Gerrard, Suarez, Coutinho, Sterling, but I think this is a much more harmonious team. And this is a team that can stay together for a long while. They're young, they've got a fantastic manager, the harmony is right, the togetherness, the belief that they have, the humility that they have as players, and now they have now brought back, for me, the respect that people have for Liverpool Football Club. When I say that, I mean that as much as we love Mo Salah, and we may look at Sadio Mane, and we may look at whichever individual players we like, the team is the most important thing. Back then, I think that we had players who, in many respects, were a little bit bigger than the team, if you like. You look at Luis Suarez, who probably felt he was bigger than the team, so he wanted to go to Barcelona. Coutinho has now gone to Barcelona. You look at all the players now, and it's got back to the stage whereby, yes, they're fantastic players, but the fans and everybody now recognizes that they're part of a good team, and the team now is the most important thing. So it's much more of a team than they were in the past. Not really. I mean, the similarities are there, a team who can win the league, but in terms of the way they play, no, because football is different now. I mean, back then, football in England particularly was very aggressive. The laws of the game meant that you could be very physical. So you had players like Steve McMahon and strong players, and because, you know, I never judge teams 20 years, 10 years apart. The similarity is that the harmony now and the belief that the fans have, the belief the players have, the trust that they have in the manager is strong. I think over the years, Liverpool fans have always felt, yes, we've got a good team, but, you know, do we really believe in the team rather than believing in the individual? And I think we pay too much importance to Suarez, for example, and the fans then just felt, oh, without Suarez we can't win. Whereas you look now, whichever team you play, if Mo Salah doesn't play, the fans still feel we can win. You know, and they trust the manager. Whichever decision the manager takes, they believe in it. In the past, when managers have taken decisions that the fans have agreed with, they've been very negative on the sidelines, they've booed, they've been, you know, disgruntled. Whereas now, if Jurgen Klopp decided to put me in the team, the fans would say, maybe not me, but loser. Whoever he picks, the fans back him because they trust him and they trust the players. So it's a different dynamic now. The harmony, and when we talk about the harmony, I don't just mean on the pitch, I'm talking about off the pitch as well. With the hierarchy, with the chief executives, with the fans in England, the fans abroad, everybody now just trusts the Liverpool way now. No, No, but I know what Jurgen Klopp's trying to do. You can see what he did at Dortmund. You can see the method he uses. You can see the players he actually has. You can see he now has a template and a method of how he wants to play. And the good thing about that is that it is identifiable and it's recognizable. As a typical example is if you look at James Milner. In fact, you look at any of our three midfield players. There's no right or wrong way of playing football. Every manager has a different opinion. But what the most important thing is for you to have an opinion of how you want the game to be played. And then you have the players to fit into that system. Because I can tell you that Pep Guardiola would not have James Milner, Gini Wijnaldum, or Jordan Henderson in his team. But Jurgen Klopp would not have David Silva or Kevin De Bruyne in his team because of the way he wants to play. Yeah? So what a lot of people do is a lot of people say, why don't we go and buy Kevin De Bruyne or buy David Silva or buy one of these players? Who 90% of the people will say, yes, they're better than our players, but not for what Jurgen Klopp wants. Jurgen Klopp knows exactly the kind of play he wants, and he can get the best out of those players. So therefore, if Henderson doesn't play and Keita plays, is it any different, the way Liverpool play? No. Whoever plays, it doesn't matter, we play the same way. Whereas I think a lot of teams relies on the individuals. So if Pogba doesn't play for Manchester United, maybe they play in a different way. But Liverpool play the same way, which then gives you consistency. This is why Liverpool have been consistent. And it's taken time. Because when Jurgen first came, it took time for the players to get used to him, it took time for the fans to get used to him. But because the fans trusted him so much, they allowed him the time to develop his own way and gave him that power to make decisions. And when Jurgen says jump, players now jump, which is unusual in football. Because as you can see, Mourinho at Manchester United and managers, you saw Conte at Chelsea, the players don't like him. Then you can see what happens to a lot of managers. It won't happen at Liverpool. Because the players understand that the fans 100% back Jurgen Klopp, so they will go along with them. Well, I mean, I don't look at it. Listen, Mo Salah is a fantastic player, and I never judge players, you know, against me or against anybody else. You know, was Robbie Fowler, Ian Rush's there. You do what you do, and he is doing fantastically well at this moment. So I would never judge, not just myself, because people now talk about Van Dijk and Alan Hansen. Van Dijk is Van Dijk, Alan Hansen is Alan Hansen. I'm John Barnes, he's Mo Salah. He's actually playing on the right, I played on the left. So although we're both left-footed, and I didn't used to have curly hair, that's where the similarities end. We're completely different players, we play differently, and hopefully, you know, Mo can be the next left-footed player who they compare to me to win the league. Fingers crossed. Well, as I said in the press conference, in cup matches you can never tell, because no matter how well Liverpool do, you saw them against Napoli in a one-off game. That can happen. So to then say we're going to get to the Champions League again, we don't know, because we could play Barcelona in the quarterfinals, and then maybe they can beat us. We can beat them, they can beat us. So cup matches, you can never tell what's going to happen. What you should be able to guarantee, which shows you your consistency, is how well you do in the league, because it's 38 games, 34 games, or whatever it is, and you have to give that performance, knowing that on a one-off game you can lose. Manchester City won the league last year, but did they not lose to Bristol City in the cup? Or who did they lose to? This year or last year? Last year they lost to they lost to a small team, but they won every other game. So in a one-off game, which is what cup matches are, you can never tell. So I don't know whether they can do that for the European Cup, but what I do know is that they can get closer to winning the league this year than they did last year. I feel sorry for all football fans who are going through a hard time, because, and I say this all the time, because we are all brothers. The fact is, you support Manchester United, somebody supports Liverpool. Under different circumstances, I could have been a Manchester United supporter, and I know the pain that football fans go through when they lose, because Liverpool fans have had it for a long while, and we should feel empathy with them. Yeah, we should be happy that Manchester United lose, but we're sorry for the fans. Not necessarily. I mean, on the pitch, yes, you don't hear much on the pitch, but off the pitch it still goes on. And racism is a social problem. It's not a football problem. And as long as it exists in all walks of life, of which football is one, it will exist in football. So if you look at what goes on in the world, forget about football. It exists. So why should football be any different? You look at the economic and the social economic problems that you have in the inner cities in all over the world. Let's talk about America, talk about England. And if you have discriminatory problems, you're talking about discrimination against women, against homosexuals. So therefore, once you have this perception of discrimination against certain groups of people in life, you will have it in all walks of life, of which football is just a part. So it really is a social problem, which then seeps into football, seeps into all aspects of life. So until we get rid of it in society, it will exist in all walks of society.